Big time people talk about ideas, but then there's going to be one or two of those people in that room that's going to be the biggest time people, if that's a word, the biggest time. They're going to talk about execution of ideas. Hey, this is Coach Michael Burt, right here from the Level 10 Studios at the Greatness Factory. Welcome back to another episode of Pray Drive. We go to bed tired and we wake up hungry. Sometimes we go to bed tired and we wake up angry, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. From Flip the Switch, I'm Coach Michael Burt. I'm here at the Greatness Factory. I'm excited to bring you another episode. And I think about Pray Drive like this. Pray Drive is your instinct to pursue. There has to be three phases of that pray drive. There must be an activation to that drive. There must be an intensity to that drive. There must be a persistence to that drive. And really, when I started studying this in 2020, somewhere around there, I started studying the top 20 motivational theories. And I basically came back and said, all these motivational theories say the same thing. We move toward things we want. We're hungry, we move toward food. We're lonely, we move toward people. Thirsty, we move toward water. What happens when we have everything we want? We covered this in a previous episode. We become complacent, and complacency is a gradual settling to a place of mediocrity. So I want you to think about Pray Drive as your instinctual ability to see something with the eyes, optically, or in the mind, in the imagination, and to pursue it with a persistence and an intensity. This is a deep drive. It's a survival mechanism inside of you. An animal has a prey drive. So when I was thinking about the podcast today, what I wanted to do, because I'm doing all these new podcasts now that we have the studio going, we've got Pray Drive, Go to Bed Tired, Wake Up Hungry, which is the psychology of Pray Drive, the psychology of motivation. How, after 30 years, do I motivate people? Do I get a person to another level? How do I motivate myself after 30 years? Then I'm doing the Coach's Locker Room, which is geared toward the art and practice of becoming a professional coach and speaker. And then I'm going to crank up Lessons from the Lodge pretty soon, 30 years of wisdom from a life of coaching people and a study in human behavior. So you can get all of these under America's Coach. You can watch these on my YouTube channel. Go there and subscribe, please. We're trying to grow that YouTube channel. I put out a lot of content. I try to feed you every single day, all parts of your nature, the body, the mind, the heart, the spirit. That's knowledge, skill, desire, and confidence. And I'm trying to feed you, man. I'm trying to showcase how a good coach can change your life, because I believe a good coach can change your life. So today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about something that a lot of people don't want to talk about, just to be honest. It is true that sometimes we go to bed tired and we wake up hungry. Sometimes we go to bed tired and we wake up tired. Sometimes we go to bed tired and we wake up angry. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. How to use the dark side of Pray Drive, because there is a dark side to Pray Drive. If your instinct is to pursue something, and there's going to be a lot of knockdowns along the way. There's going to be a lot of adversity along the way. There's going to be a lot of enemies along the way. There's going to be a lot. And the bigger you get and the more you do, the more people are going to come crawling out of the woodworks. And they're going to come out to hate on you, and they're going to come out to be negative towards you, and then there's going to be people that want to latch on to you, and there's going to be some sleazy people that come along. I got a long list of those people, folks. And there's going to be people that come along and don't do what they say they're going to do. Then there's going to be people who come along and there's going to be all kinds of things you're going to face when you try to do something big. Now, when you don't try to do anything big, you're not going to have a lot of these things. So here's the two paths. Try to do something big and get ready for the resistance, or just keep doing something small. That's why I say you got two options, man. Be a dreamer, be a doer. Adam Coffey said that the other day. Adam Coffey, who has bought and purchased 58 companies, $3.1 billion, wrote Empire Builder. He's coming here to the Greatness Factory May 10th and 11th. He's going to teach that. I guarantee he's had some knockdowns. So here's when I first learned about this. So remember, Pray Drive is your instinct to pursue, but what happens when life knocks the shout out of you? What happens when you have your spirit crushed? What happens when you have some adversity, which is a departure away from the ideal scene? I want you to think of adversity as, I have a vision of where I would like to go. I fantasize about that vision. I go there in the mind. It's as clear as day, especially if you have the gift of vivid visualization. You can see it clearly. And then for some reason, something comes along and detours you. It's a departure away from the ideal scene. Now, when you have this departure, what do you do with it? Do you whine? Do you pout? Do you complain? Do you make excuses? Do you want to quit? Which is what most people want to do. And I was teaching a group here yesterday at the Greatness Factory, kind of the manifestation of the Greatness Factory. I actually had the vision in 2016. I spent $100,000, and I said spent, not invested, on plans for the Greatness Factory. I spent $400,000 on a lot. I took it to the city of Murfreesboro. They wouldn't pass it for me to put it in my home city. Now I'm down, $500,000, and we don't even have anything other than a set of plans, right? I try to go back to my hometown to do some philanthropy, build a Greatness Factory, give people a chance to go become great there. Couldn't get anybody in there. Couldn't get anybody wanting to be great, right? It's like small towns and big dreams. Do the people in the small towns have big dreams? So I had to sell that property. Then I went into another building where they promised me everything. We're going to give you the whole 9th floor of the building, 10,000 square foot. It's already got the offices building. I go in there, I spend $250,000 on the furniture, and guess what? I do one event, and the landlord kicks me out of the building because he said I got too many people in here, too much energy, too much positive energy, coach. Right? Now, I want you to think about this. These are departures away from the ideal scene. Along the way of life, you're going to have negative people. You're going to have haters. You're going to have things that happen in your life. And the more good you try to do, the more resistance you're going to have. So what do you do with this? So let's call this the dark side of Pray Drive. It's fear. It's worry. It's emotion. It's jealousy. It's haterade. It's all the things that come along in your life and all the people that come along in your life that don't work out the way you wanted it to work out. And somebody feels like they're getting screwed, okay? This is what it is. And you probably have been on the other side of this. Now, when this happens to you, you have some clear options here. You can get down there and go at it with these people. And one of my mentors said, never wrestle with the pig. You both get muddy and the pig loves it. Never wrestle with the pig. One of my other mentors said, pig battle's big enough to fight, small enough to win. Pretty good advice here. So you don't want to go to bed angry, right? You want to go to bed tired because you put a good day in. You want to wake up excited. So here is the usage of a negative to a positive, whether it be fear, anger, worry, doubt, resentment, insecurity, people hating on you. I want you to learn to say a couple of things. And this is a real simple thing to say. I want you to learn to say, thank you. I owe you. Good things happen to your life. Good things come along in your life. People come along in your life and do good things. They say good things to you. And I want you to say, thank you, I owe you. See, I had this pastor once, great pastor. And it didn't matter what I sent to him via text message. He would say, thank you. I appreciate that. And I kept trying to figure out, man, why does he not really engage? Why does he not ever say anything other than that? Why does he not ever engage? And I did figure it out one day. It's because so many people have been mean to him. So many people have been, he don't know who to trust, who not to trust. He don't know who's going to be nice to him, who's not going to be nice to him. And so a standard response is, man, thank you for that. I learned this from Kevin Elko, Nick Saban, psychologist at the University of Alabama. Thank you, I owe you. And he used it in a positive way. People do things for you. Thank you, man, I owe you. He would teach the players at Alabama that thank you, I owe you. And I started going for the negatives, for the knockdowns, for the people who don't believe in you, for the people who loved you yesterday, but they don't love you today. See, Grant Cardone told me many years ago, sitting in his office in Miami, he said, man, you'll figure this out at some point. The longer you do this in the coaching business, they'll love you one day, then they'll love Tony Robbins the next day. Then they'll love Gary Vaynerchuk the next day. Then they'll love Bradley the next day. And then, maybe they come back to you, maybe they don't. He said, you'll figure this out. They'll love you one day and they'll love somebody the next day. And then he said, it all goes to zero at midnight. And I go, You never want a business that all goes to zero at midnight. You never want relationships that all go to zero at midnight. But the truth is, there are people who will abuse you, use you. There are people who will come into your life for their own reasons. There are, right? So the pastor was saying, thank you. This is as close as I'm going to get to you, because there's going to be people come into your life, and you don't think about this until you start doing big things, and then people come into your life and like, well, what's the motive of that person? What's the motive of that person? Why is that person not happy for us? Why did this person, they was on board with us yesterday, but they're not on board with us today? And, I have people that like me at one day and then they don't like something I say the next day on social media. They don't like how tall I am. They don't like my Southern accent. They don't like that don't have hair, but I used to have hair. They don't like that my wife is thinner today than she was 60 days ago. They don't like this. Right? It's like, so I'm trying to teach you guys, we don't play in those games. I was teaching my daughter this morning. We don't play in those games. She said, well, Dad, all these people do is just talk about each other behind each other's back. And I said, no, they may do that, but we don't do that. We do not participate in low value activity. We have big things to do. We don't have margin. We don't even have enough time to get involved in low value activity. We don't have time to hate on other people. We don't have time to worry about something happened in the past. So anytime something happens to me, positive or negative, because there's been a lot of shady things happening this week, negative people toward me, people trying to tear me down, people saying mean things about me, people lying about this or lying about that, or this happened or that happened. Listen, it's all everybody's opinion, folks. Here's what I say. I don't participate in any of those things, okay? I don't have time to go there. I got a big B goal, and so here's what I say. Thank you. I owe you. You did something nice. Guys sent me a real nice message last night. Thank you, man. I owe you. I appreciate that. Somebody sends me a negative message. Thank you. I owe you. Learn to use the negatives in life as prey drive activators. Oh, you didn't think I could do anything big in my life? Oh, you said you made fun of me? Oh, you lied about that about me? Okay, it's okay. Thank you. I owe you. I called a guy the other day and I said, man, I could really help you with this, and I think I could really help you get to another level. And he said, blah, 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 blah. I said, thank you, man. I owe you. Hey, well, here's what you did. You just saved me a lot of time because I'm not going to follow up with you. I'm not going to be interested in what you're trying to do because I can't help you because you're so close-minded. So the negative side of prey drive or the dark side of prey drive is how do you take a negative emotion and convert it to a positive? And in this book, Flip the Switch, I address all of these things. One of the most popular 3-night series that I ever did was called The Dark Side of Prey Drive. Like, what do you do with negative emotion? So here's what I do. Number one, I say, thank you, I owe you. Somebody comes up at the end of the day, man, it was awesome. Thank you, man, I owe you. Somebody says something negative, thank you, I owe you. Somebody complains about something, thank you, man, I owe you. So number one, whether it be haters or admirers, learn to say, thank you, I owe you. Appreciate that. I don't get too high and I don't get too low. Because if my confidence was predicated by what somebody else thought about me, I wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. You can never place your destiny in somebody else's hands. You can never take your confidence and give it to somebody else. See, I made that mistake at 25 years old. And once I made that mistake, went through clinical depression, couldn't get out of bed in the morning. It was all for one reason. I had taken every bit of my confidence and I had placed it in the hands of another person. And because of that, I allowed that person to destroy my confidence. And I made up my mind, I'm never doing that again. Never place your destiny in somebody else's hands. So as you start to do things in life, when I was a basketball coach, the more we won, I told the story yesterday, the more we won, the meaner people were to me. They'd be mean to me at church. They'd be mean to when I went to the store, they'd be mean, right? And I was leaving yesterday, and one of my buddies, Nick Hyder, who's we're partnering with, he said, man, I think you're the most misunderstood guy in our whole network. And I haven't asked him what he meant by that. I think people see me and they think a certain thing. And I hadn't figured out what they think. Some like it, some don't like it. Some are positive, some are negative. This is life. People are going to come and people are going to go. People are going to be with you some days and then they're going to be against you the other days. People are going to feel like they got the short end of the stick. There's going to be days you feel like you got the short end of the stick. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. So here is the choice. And let's go back to an old Covey thing because that's who I was mentored by, Stephen Covey. Between stimulus and response is a space. And in that space lies our ability to choose our response. Never wrestle with the pig because you both get muddy and the pig loves it. Pig battle's big enough to fight, small enough to win. If time is one of the most precious things you have, why would you spend it getting your blood pressure worked up, creating heart disease in the body, which is the number one problem for people as they age, heart disease, which comes from one place, stress. Where does that stress come from? From our response to life. So when I wrote Flip the Switch, I'm like, use the negative to activate the drive. Use the person down the street that don't like you. Use the person that's mean to you at church. Use the person who says bad things about you. Like say, man, thank you. Oh, you know what? I needed a little extra steam in the engine. That's what I call it. The person that made fun of you as a kid, the bully that told you you'd never be anything when you were in the 5th grade, that treated you like crap. Go back later on in life and say, man, thank you. I owe you. I wouldn't be where I am today if you wouldn't have been so mean to me back in those days. Now, what are you doing today? What are you doing today? And what are we doing today? So this is an important thing. It's been on my mind this week because so many crazy things have happened this week of just just bizarre things. And people, and I can just tell people are so on edge, man. They're so on edge, right? It's like the skills that got us out of Egypt can't get us to the promised land. Some people and opportunities are more valuable in the past than they are in the future. Learn to appreciate those opportunities when you have them, and when it's time to move on, just move on and go, thank you. I owe you, man. It's a good run for us. Didn't last forever. Some people go some of the way. Some people go part of the way. Some people go all the way. So this is the lesson of the thing. If you hadn't read my book, Flip the Switch, if you hadn't downloaded on Audible Pray Drive to listen to this really keeps people from moving forward. The negativity, the scarcity, the mindset, man, I'm sitting here talking about this. So I'm going to end this podcast with something my good friend Ben Wilson said to me. He did an event here at the Greatness Factory, one of the top real estate professionals in the world. I spent a year mentoring and coaching him, real serious. And he said to me, Coach, there's 4 types of people in the world. Number 1, low-level people get together and they spend all of their time talking about other people. And I thought, that's good. He said, the next level of people get together and they talk about things that happened in the past, right? You should use the past. You should leverage the past. You should be thankful for the past because your past helps you to build a bigger future, right? So he said, but some people get together and talk about what happened last weekend and what happened in that game. And, we got screwed over here and this didn't work and this didn't. It's over. The past is finite, folks. Thank you. I owe you. I appreciate it. I needed a little extra giddy up. I needed some more steam in the engine because I got a little flat and complacent. I needed the Pray Drive activated again. So thank you for not believing in me. I'm moving on. I'm not living there. Okay? So that's number 2. Low-level people get together and they spend all their time talking about other people. The third level of people, or they talk about the past. The third level of people are people that get together and talk about ideas. See, right now I'm looking over in my Dream Foundry today here at the Greatness Factory. And I'm looking at people who are having a mastermind today, a real estate mastermind today. And we rent all of our spaces here on the 3rd level. We got people coming in from the podcast. I got Dan Martell, who wrote Buy Back Your Time, coming in today, doing multiple interviews. We're interviewing people here. We rent the Dream Foundry. We rent the Money Lab. We rent the theater. Everything up here you could rent. And I'm watching a group over here that's here to talk real estate, business. Big time people talk about ideas. But then there's going to be 1 or 2 of those people in that room that's going to be the biggest time people, if that's a word, the biggest time. They're going to talk about execution of ideas. They go from mental creation to physical action, and they go quickly. They go from, I got a dream, a thought, a vision, and then I move into this. I got a dream, a thought, a vision, and then I move into it. I go from mental creation, I got an idea, and I go from an idea to an action. I go from an idea to an action. And you know what? I need a little extra steam in the engine, so thank you, I owe you. I'm going to take the fear, the worry, the doubt, the insecurity, and I'm going to convert it. And it's going to be incredible fuel. I'm going to convert that emotion. See, I used to think passion, irresistible belief, or motive or action came from emotion. Real passion comes in life when you've been really screwed over. Conflict. I think it was Russell Brunson who said that. Real passion comes from conflict. Comes from losing, comes from an injustice. It comes from an unfairness. It comes from, man, I can't believe you did that to me. Like real passion. So let's use it. Let's learn to say, thank you, I owe you. I wouldn't be where I am today without all the people who didn't believe in me. See, that's what you got to do. And it took me a while to get there, to be honest with you. 25, the knockdown at 25 on my confidence was huge. It was one of the best blessings I ever had. Some of the big breakdowns I've had in life from people that I trusted that I couldn't trust, or people that were using us to get something they wanted, or people that, it's like, thank you, man. I owe you, because every time I got a little bit better, a little bit smarter, there is no losing. There's only learning. And sometimes there's expensive tuition. Now, I've got a few things coming up I want to tell you about. Number one, come see me at the Greatness Factory. Isn't this place incredible? Like, it is so incredible. The Dream Foundry, the Money Lab, the theater, the podcast studio. I got co-working opening up in the next month or so downstairs. I got private offices on level 2. I got this beautiful studio to rent to people. So come see me at the Greatness Factory. Go to coachburt.com, click on events. I'm coming to cities around the world. I'll be in Atlanta, Georgia next week on Wednesday, the 24th. I'll be in Chicago on May 14th. That's going to wrap up the Package Your Purpose tour. So think of that as my first leg tour. Then I'm going right into competitive intelligence. I'm coming to Watercolor, Florida, Destin, Florida. I'm coming to Detroit, Michigan. I'm coming to Traverse City, Michigan. They don't even think they can get me out of Traverse City to go to the next place I'm trying to get to, which is Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm going out on tour, West Palm Beach. This is called the Competitive Intelligence Tour. Let me teach you how to think and play and perform like a winner. That's what a coach does. And then, hey, I'm not finished. I'm going from there to the Go to Bed Tired, Wake Up Hungry tour, and I think I've added about 15 cities to that tour. I'm going to come in and reactivate a prey drive in you like you cannot imagine. All of this, coachburt.com, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you about my big Activate conference. I've already got Renee Rodriguez, Coach Burt, Natalie Burt. We got some few big speakers. It's going to be right here at the Greatness Factory. I only have 109 seats. It's going to be 26th through the 28th of September, and an incredible experience that you don't want to miss. So go to coachburt.com, click on events, follow me on social media at Coach Michael Burt or at Michael Burt on Instagram, and go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like the podcast Under America's Coach. We go to bed tired and we wake up hungry, and we always say thank you. I owe you. I'm Coach Michael Burt, live at the Level 10 Studios.